Question 1. Derek has 2 part-time jobs on a Sunday. He washes cars from 12:03 to 13:34. Then he goes to work at a local restaurant from 13:45 to 14:49, covering the lunch service. How long does he work on a Sunday in total, not including his journey to the local restaurants? Write your answer in the space below. So we've got 2 times we need to find. We need to find out the time he spends washing cars here and also the time he spends in the restaurant. So we'll do the washing cars first. So we'll do 12:03 and we'll do our timeline, and we're going to 13:34. So what do we add on to get to the next hour, to 1300 hours? We would add 57 minutes, and then to get to 13:34 we'd add 34 minutes. So this is the length of time in minutes that he works for washing cars. Now we'll do the same for the restaurant. So it's 13:45 timeline, and we're going to 14:49. So we'll add on 15 minutes here, and then we'll add on, that takes us to 1400 hours, and then we'll add on the other 49 minutes. So we've got all the minutes all together now he works. So we just need to add those together. So 57 add 34 add 49 add 15, and this will give us the total length of time. So 7 add our 4 is 11, add 9 gives us 20, add the 5 is 25, and then 5 add 2 add 3 is 10, add 4 is 14, add 1 is 5. So it's 155 minutes, but we need to turn that into hours and minutes. So 60 minutes in an hour. So 1 hour will be 60 minutes, 2 hours will be 120, 180 will be too many. So we take that away. So it's the 2 hours, and we take that away from the 120, which is the 2 hours, which leaves us with the 35 minutes left. So 2 hours, 35 minutes. Number 2, in a zoo there are 12 zebras, 11 monkeys and 28 fish. How many feet and heads are there all together in the zoo? So what we need to do basically is we need to figure out how many feet and heads are on each of these, times it by the number that are there, and then add them all together. So if you think about zebra, it's got 4 feet and it's got 1 head. So all together there's 5 of these. So on 1 zebra there's 5. On 12 zebras we just do 12 times 5, which would be 60. Monkeys, you've got 2 feet and you've got 1 head. So we're going to need to times by 3 here. Okay, so we'll do 3 times 11, which is 33. So we've got our 60, we've got our 33. Now fish, they don't have any feet, they've just got heads. So it'll just be 28 heads. So we'll just add together what we've got. The 60 added to the 33 added to the 28. 3 add 8 gives me 11. And then 6 add 3 is 9, add 1 is 10, add the 2 is 12. So we've got 121 feet and heads in total in the zoo. Number 3, look at the equation below. 6,435 divided by d equals 5. What is the value of d? So when we've got our division here, this is our inverse operation. However, you've got to be careful because it's a division, it isn't always the inverse. Because these two numbers are split by the letter, it actually means that what happens is these two actually just swap places. So it stays as a division. So it's actually 6,435 divided by 5 will equal d. So just be careful of that. It isn't always the inverse. So if we do that, 6,435 divided by 5, 5 into 6 goes once, carry 1, 5 into 14 twice, carry 4, 5 into 43 goes 8, carry the 3, 5 into 35 goes 7. And that will be the answer to what d is. Number 4, Erin thinks of a number. She adds 7 to it and then multiplies by 4. Her answer is 78. What number did Erin think of? So we treat this basically like a function machine. So we end up at 78 and we just go back through the story. So we're at 78 here and we just do the exact opposite until we get to the number that Erin thinks of. So instead of multiplying by 4, we're going to divide by 4. And then instead of adding 7, we need to take away 7. And then that will give us the number at the start. So 78 divided by 4 first. 78 divided by 4, 4 into 7 goes once, carry the 3. 4 into 38 goes 9 times, which would be 36. And we've got a remainder here, so we'll put our 0.00. And then we'll carry 2. And then 4 into 20 goes 5, making sure that that decimal point goes in as well. So 78 divided by 4 is 19.5. So we've done the divide by 4 part. Now we need to do the take away 7, which is the opposite to the add the 7 to get to the number that we started with. So we'll do 19.5 minus our 7, and then we will get 12.5. Okay, so just treat it like a function machine, going back through doing the opposite until you get to the number that they start to think of. Number 5, write the number 30,406 and 3/5 in figures in the space below. So just do it systematically. We'll write our 30,000. Now you can put a comma in here, you don't need to, but it helps, I think, just to split up the different sections. And then we've got 406, and then we've got 3/5. Now 3/5, sometimes people forget what this is as decimal. They always seem to remember what tenths are. So what I always say is, if you cannot remember what it is in fifths, just change it into an equivalent fraction, which is out of 10. So 5, to get to 10, we times by 2 and do exactly the same to the top. 3 times 2 is 6, so it's 6/10. 3/5 is the same as 6/10, and we know that 6/10 is 0.6. So this would be the answer, 30,406.6, with or without the comma. Number 6, a pupil draws a rectangle on a piece of paper and then writes the following description below. The area of the triangle is 24 centimeter squares. The perimeter of the rectangle is 28 centimeters. So it says use the grid below to recreate the rectangle that the pupil has drawn using his description. Okay, so we've got an area of 24 and we've got a perimeter of 28. So what I would do in this situation, I was concentrating the 24. Now area, we need to do length times width. So if we've got a rectangle and this is 24 centimeter squares, I could have lots of different combinations of numbers to make 24. So I could have 1 and 24. That would give me an area of 24. However, if I was to convert that into what the perimeter is, we'd have 24 add 24, which is 48, and then 1 add 1, which is 2, added together. So the perimeter here is 50, which is far too many. So if we try a different combination, so again, the area is 24 centimeter squares. So I try 2 and 12. So 2 times 12 is our 24, which is the area, so that works. Then I'll just add in the other missing sides to get the perimeter. So 12 add 12 is 24, 4 add 4 is, 2 add 2 is 4, and then add the 24, add it to the 4, and that gives us our 28, which is the perimeter that we need. So effectively, we need to draw a rectangle, which is 2 by 12 across. So something like this, 1, 2 down, and then we'll go across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we'll just do the same at the bottom, just making sure. In the AQE you won't have a ruler, so just be as accurate as you can. But effectively you need a rectangle which is 12 by 2, because if you've got your 12 and your 2, that would give you your area of 24 centimeter squares and your perimeter of 28 centimeters. Number 7, Aaron goes to the shop. It costs £3.20 for 200 millilitres of water. How much does it cost for 0.7 litres of water? So ratio question, put down what we know. £3.20 is equal to 200 millilitres. Now 0.7 litres, we've got millilitres here, so we're going to change it into the same thing just to make life that little bit easier. So 0.7, so 1 litre equals 1,000 millilitres. So how do I turn litres into millilitres? I basically have to times by 1,000. So I times this by 1,000 and it'll move down. Basically what happens is the decimal point moves down 3 places. So 0.7 and it'll move 1, 2, 3. Now I jumped over nothing here, and the decimal point is now here. So it's actually 700 millilitres. So I'm going to put that there. 700 millilitres is where we're trying to get to. Only 200 doesn't fit into 700. So we need to change this into something first to then change it into 700. And the easiest thing to do would be just to change it into 100 millilitres. So all you've done there is divided by 2. And then to change 100 millilitres into 700, you just times it by 7. So we need to do exactly the same as what we've done here. Divide by 2 times by 7 to the price. Because then the ratio will go up and it will be sort of equivalent to what it is worth. So we need to divide £3.20 by 2. So 32 divided by 2 is 16. So this is going to be £1.60. So I now know that 100 millilitres is £1.60. So if I just times that by 7, that's going to give me, so divided by 2 and then times by 7, that's going to give me what 700 milliliters will be worth. So I'll do my 1.60 times by 7. 7 nothings are 0, 7 sixes are 42, and then 7 ones are 1 add to 4 gives me 11. So my answer will be 11 pounds 20 is equal to 700 milliliters. So pop that in, 11 pounds 20. So ratio, make it something we can then turn into 700 and do the same with the price. Number 8. How many factors of 36 are below 15? So we need to find all the factors of 36 and then see how many are below 15 effectively. So 36, always do these in pairs. So I think 1, 36. And do them in order. Start with 1, 2, 3, 4, work your way through, and then you'll get everything. So then I've got 2 and 18. I've got 3, I've got 12, I've got 4 and 9. 5 doesn't fit into this, so I cannot use 5, and then I've got 6. And with factors, I don't write 6 twice because it is just a 6, even though it's 6 times 6. So I've now got all the factors. Now I need to see how many are below 15. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. 7 factors below 15 of 36. So we've got our poem. So, wishing. Do you wish the world were better? Let me tell you what to do. Set a watch upon your actions. Keep them always straight and true. Rid your mind of selfish motives. Let your thoughts be clean and high. You can make a little Eden of the sphere you occupy. Do you wish the world were wiser? Well, suppose you make a start by accumulating wisdom in the scrapbook of your heart. Do not waste one page of folly. Live to learn and learn to live. If you want to give them knowledge, you must get it ere you give. Do you wish the world were happy? Then remember day by day, just to sweetly scatter seeds of kindness as you pass along the way. For the pleasure of the many may oftentimes trace to one, as the hand that plants an acorn shelters armies from the sun. Quite like this little poem. It's written by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Questions that go along with this. So number 9, look at verse 2. So it always directs you where to look. So verse 2 of the poem, find the word closest in meaning to gathering. Okay, so we need to look in verse 2. So this is the verse 2 here. And the word you're actually looking for is accumulating. So you might have heard your parents talking about that. So accumulating things or gathering things, it's the same thing. So just make sure I'm spelling it right. Late-ing. And if it is a word that you're copying from the text, make sure you do spell it right, because it is there and you might not get the mark otherwise. Number 10. The words below are all in the present tense. Write each word in the past tense. The first one has been completed for you. So present tense grab. So this is today. So this is happening right now, present, and this is yesterday. So this is the easiest way to think about this. If you say these two word sentences in your head, it'll direct you to what you need. So today I grab, yesterday I grabbed. Today I hold, yesterday I held. Today I feel, yesterday I felt. Makes it very, very straightforward then. Number 11, look at verse 1. So we're going to verse 1 of the poem. Find the 3-word phrase closest in meaning to circle you live in. Okay, so circle you live in, 3-word phrase in verse 1. And it's actually these last 3 words here. Sphere you occupy. So a sphere is like a circle or like a ball. And occupy is somewhere where you are there, you stay, you live. So the answer here is sphere you occupy. And it needs to be the 3 words. It cannot be more than 3 words. If it says 3 words, get the 3 words down. Now number 12, alliteration is where 2 or more words having the same first consonant sound occur close together. Find an example of alliteration in verse 3 of the poem. Tick the line below and to show where the alliteration takes place. Now you might have spotted it. So we're looking in verse 3 for our alliteration, and it's sweetly scattered seeds. And this is in line 1, 2, 3. So it's the 3rd line down. So we'll just give line 3 a wee tick here. Number 13, look at verse 3 again of the poem. Find the word closest in meaning to joy. Okay, write your answer in the space below. So joy, word that means joy in verse 3. And as we're looking, it's actually pleasure. Okay, so that's what we're after. So joy and pleasure means the same thing. So we'll just pop in here, pleasure. Okay, now which word below best describes the mood of the poem? So this is why it's important, I think, to read through. It doesn't really talk about fear or sadness or confusion. It's more about hope, about how things can get better. It's telling you how things can potentially get better by things that you can do if you want it to be happier, wiser, those types of things. So the answer there is hope. And if you didn't know that, process of elimination, you'd probably be able to get it. Because it's definitely not about fear, being scared. It's definitely not sad. It's definitely not confused. So it would have to be hope. Now, number 15, the words scrapbook, learn, selfish, and sweetly are used in the poem. Tick the correct box to show whether each word is an adjective, noun, adverb, or verb. So scrapbook, person, place, or thing, straightforward, is a noun. Learn is what you do, is something you do, so it'll be a verb. Selfish, in this instance, is the adjective, and finally, sweetly is the adverb. And again, always look out for the ly. It isn't always the ly, but a lot of times the adverb will be the ly. Back to maths. Number 16. A child has £1 in their piggy bank in 5p coins and 10p coins. Altogether, there are 18 coins in their piggy bank. How many 10p coins do they have in their piggy bank? So, depending on the combination of 5p coins and 10p coins, it'll add up to £1 with 18 coins. So we need to figure out what that combination is and how many of those coins will be 10p. So I'm going to put here 10p, I'm going to put here 5p, and I'm going to put here total. So 10p, so we need to start somewhere. So I'm going to put in here, say we've got 5 10p's, that will equal 50p. If I've got 5 10p coins and there's 18 coins, that means I've got 13 5p coins. Now 13 5p coins adds up to 65p. So the total of what would be in this piggy bank if there was this amount would be £1 and 15p, which is too much for the pound that we need. So it needs to be smaller. So let's try 4. 4 10p coins would be 40p, which means we've got 14 5p coins, because the 14 add the 4 is the 18 coins. That would give me 70p here. That there, 40 adds 70p, actually adds up to £1.10. Now we're getting closer. And you can see we've gone down with the amount of 10p, so we're probably going to have to go down a bit more. And also, when we had an even number, sorry, an odd number of 10p coins, then it gave us like a 5 here, where it's 15. So I'm going to go down to 2. So 2 10p coins, which means I've got 16 5p coins, which is 80p. So if I add the 20p, the 80p, that gives me the £1. So this goes well with what we need to be doing. We've got the 18 coins, the 2 and the 16 is 18. And then 2 10p's are 20p, 16 5p's are 80p, 20p add 80p is the pound, which is how much they've got. So now we have got our answer of 2 10p coins in the piggy bank. So a bit of trial and error, but you need to start somewhere with that. So, number 17, Gemma is describing a quadrilateral. So quadrilateral, 4-sided shape. Literally quad means 4, like quad bike, quadruplets, and lateral means straight line. So this literally means 4 straight lines, or 4-sided shape. Okay, so 4-sided shape, it's got acute, obtuse, and right angles. So that's not really going to help us out massively. 4 sides of different lengths, so all the sides are different lengths. It is 1 set of parallel lines. This here is the key description, because as soon as it says 1 set of parallel lines, that means it has to be a trapezium. Now a trapezium, you'll notice, can look one of 2 ways. You can have it where it looks a bit like this. This is what's called an isosceles trapezium, a bit like the isosceles triangle, where these angles are the same and these sides are the same. But the definition of a trapezium is that it's got 1 set of parallel sides. But it can also look like this. Again, it's got 1 set of parallel sides. That's what makes it trapezium. This one here has got right angles, it's got obtuse angles, and it's also got acute angles. So this is the trapezium that has been described here. And all 4 sides are different lengths. So as soon as you see 1 set of parallel lines, that means it has to be a trapezium. Okay, so hopefully that'll help going forward in the future. 18. In a class of 45, 4/9 of the class have blonde hair, 2/5 of the class have black hair and the rest have brown hair. How many of the pupils have brown hair? So we need to do a bit here. So we've got 45. So we need to do 4/9 of 45. And that'll tell us how many blonde people are. So blonde is 4/9 of 45. So just divide by the bottom times by the top. 9 into 45 goes 5. Times by 4 is 20. So we've got blonde people, there's 20. Now we've got, where is it? Black hair. So black hair is 2/5 of 45. So we divide by the bottom times by the top. 45 divided by 5 is 9, times 2 is 18. And then that there is blonde, black hair. Now brown hair is all the people that are left over basically. So we add these two together, which gives us 38. And then we're going to have to take that away from the 45 people. And that'll leave us with the brown haired people. So 45, take away 38. 5 take away 8 we can't do. We borrow. 15 take away 8, 7. 3 take away 3 is 0. So we've got 7 people with brown hair. Number 19. A runner improves their time for the 800 meters by 20% each year. In 2017, their time was 2 minutes and 40 seconds. What is their time in 2018? This is a tricky question. So I'm going to go through it step by step. So first off, if they improve by 20% each year, we need to take 20% off this time. Now 2 minutes 40 seconds, we need to change it all into seconds first of all. And that'll make life a little bit easier for us. So in 2 minutes we've got 120 seconds, and then we've obviously got our 40. So 2 minutes 40 seconds is the same as 160 seconds. So we're going to find out 20% of this and then subtract that, because if they're improving their time, it means it will get less. So we'll do 20% of 160. Now 20%, some of you might recognize that this is the same as 2/10, some of you might recognize it's the same as 1/5. It doesn't matter which way you do it, you'll end up with the same answer. I actually personally prefer using 2/10 of 160, because dividing by 10 and times it by 2 is quite easy, whereas dividing by 5 you'd have to do working out. So this I can do in my head. So 160 divided by 10 is 16, times by 2 is 32, because I would divide by the bottom times by the top. If you did 1/5 of 160, you would still get 32. So it doesn't matter which way you do it, you still get 32. Now the time's going to improve by that 20%. So we need to take that off the 160 minutes. So 160 minus the 32 minutes. So 10 take away 2 is our 8. 5 take away our 3 is our 2. And then 1 take away nothing is 1. So he's improved, and now he can run it in 128 seconds. But we need to change that into minutes and seconds. So 60 seconds in a minute, 120 in 2 minutes. So this will be 2 minutes. Then take away the 120 from the 128. It'll leave you with 8 seconds. Okay, so quite a bit going on there. I think that is tricky, but hopefully that all makes sense. Change it into the seconds first will really be a big thing and make it easier for you. Number 20, look at the rhombus below. How many lines of symmetry does it have? So rhombus is effectively a pushed over square. All these sides are the same length, only what's happened is it's been shoved over, and now it has 2 sets of parallel lines, but it's got acute angles and it's got obtuse angles. It is also known as a diamond. If I was to actually swivel this round, or you tilt your head, this is basically a diamond. A diamond's 4 sides are all the same. It is a rhombus, it's the same thing actually, but this is the technical name. Now, lines of symmetry. We've got this one that goes across. We've also got this one here that goes across. So it's a bit like the kite. So this will fold over and this will fold over. So we've got 2 lines of symmetry. This is not a line of symmetry. Straight down, that doesn't make the same on both sides. And this is not a line of symmetry. So on a rhombus, it only has 2 lines of symmetry. And just to go off topic a little bit, if you had a parallelogram and you were seeing how many lines of symmetry, just try and do my best and draw a parallelogram has, it actually has 0 lines of symmetry, because it doesn't have a line of symmetry going down, it doesn't have anything going across, and the diagonals actually wouldn't be symmetrical either. So if it's a parallelogram, it's got 0 lines of symmetry, but a rhombus in this case has got 2. Number 21, a mum goes for a walk every week. In week 1 they go for 9 walks. In total, in week 2 they go for treble the amount of walks. So I'm going to, and then in week 3 they go for 2/3 of the amount of walks they did in week 2. How many walks did they go for in total over the 3 weeks? So I'm going to go week 1. So week 1, they walked 9 walks. They had 9 walks. And then in week 2, they had treble the amount of walks. Now, treble means times by 3. So week 2, that they did in week 1, so we'll do 9 times 3, which is 27. So week 2. Then week 3, they went for 2/3 of the walks that they did for in week 2. So we need 2/3 of 27. So simple, divide by the bottom times by the top. 27 divided by 3 would be your 9, and then times by 2 would be your 18. And then we need the total over the whole 3 weeks. So we're just going to add these 3 together. So we've got our 7 add 8 is 15, add 9 is 24. And then we've got 4 add 1 is 5. So they go for 54 walks altogether. 22, Sam measures 1.78 meters in height. Terry is 130 millimeters taller, so that means he's bigger. How tall is Terry? Write your answer in the space below in meters. Okay, so we've got this in meters, so that's fine. So we know Sam's height, but we need to change this into meters and then add it on. So 130 millimeters. We need to go change it into centimeters first. So 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. So we need to divide this by 10 to turn it into centimeters. So decimal points here, divided by 10. So this is actually 13 centimeters. And then to turn it into meters, so you got 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. So we need to again divide by 100 this time. So decimal point is here. Move up 1, 2 places. So it's 0.13 meters. And then just add it on because Terry is that much taller than Sam. So 8 add 3 is 1. Sorry, 11. I carry the 1. And then 7 add 1 and 1 is 9. Decimal point 1 add nothing is 1. So it'll be 1.91 meters. Now, number 23. Look at the function machine below. If 16 goes in the function machine above and 7 comes out, what does the missing function need to be? Fill in the gap in the function machine above with the correct function. So we need to put something in here so that if 16 goes in and 7 comes out, this function here will need to turn it into that. So the easiest way to do this is to do it in reverse. So we're going to go back through the function machine to get to 16 effectively. So we're going to do 7, take away 3. So we're at 4 here. So basically, what do you do to 16 to turn it into 4? Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. There is 2 answers. So to turn 16 into 4, you could divide by 4, or you could take away 12. So either of these is correct for this question. So divide by 4 or take away 12, because if you do 16 divided by 4, you get 4, then 4 add 3 will give you your 7. Or if you do 16, take away 12, it gives you 4, and then 4 add 3 is 7. So either of those 2 would be correct. Divide by 4 or take away 12. Now, our final text, this extract from The Penalty by Mal Pete. We were river people, fishermen, people of the river spirit, Loma, who is slow and green and clever. We were not warriors, so when the fierce people came from beyond the forest, attacked our village, we did not know what to do. They came out of the trees howling at the time of light, but not sun yet. When my mother and the other woman were waking the first fires, I picked up my young sister, who was playing at the front of our house, and ran with the others towards our boats. Some of us fell with spears in our backs. I looked for my mother and saw her go down, broken, beneath the feet of the fierce people, who swept over her like water. And when we reached the sands, we saw 2 great war canoes on the river. And in them there were terrible no-skins, who killed more of us with their fire sticks. My father was one who died there. He went onto his knees with his hands on his chest full of blood, and then he fell with his face in the water. The air was so full of screaming that I could hardly breathe it. We were trapped, and I thought we would all die, and I tried to make myself ready, but they did not kill us. Not there, not then. The war canoes came onto the beach, breaking our boats. The fierce people and the no-skins used their spears and their fire sticks to beat the women and children back towards the houses. They tore my sister from me. She did not cry out even when they threw her down, but her eyes were huge and her mouth was open like a person found drowned. I was kneeling beside my father, chanting for his spirit, when I looked up and saw a no-skin looking down at me. His face was the colour of a peeled animal, with the fat still on it, but there was yellow fur around his mouth. That was how I thought then. Peeled animal, yellow fur, fire sticks? Because I had never seen white men before, or their guns. I was terribly afraid. I thought the one standing over me was Lord Death from our stories. He kept his raw-looking eyes on me and shouted in his language. Hands seized me and forced me to where our other men had been gathered. Our hands were tied together and our necks fastened to a long chain of iron. Number 24. Which adjective used in paragraph 1 is closest in meaning to the description savage? So we're looking paragraph 1, a word that means savage. So if we look up, we've got paragraph 1. It's actually this word here, the fierce people. Savage, fierce is what we're after. Now, number 25. Find the word in paragraph 3, which means to give a long, loud, piercing cry or cries expressing extreme emotion or pain. So paragraph 3, we're looking for long, loud cry. So paragraph 3, we've got 1, 2, and 3. This is what we're after here, screaming. So pop that in. 25, screaming. Number 26. Look at the words below. Find the opposite meanings for these words. The answers can all be found in paragraph 4 of the text. So we're looking fixing, standing, small and small. So let's do fixing first. And if we notice that in paragraph 4, fixing, the opposite would be breaking. So if you're fixing something, the opposite would be to break it. So breaking. Make the E a bit more E-ish. And then standing. Another word for standing. And if we look here, kneeling. So instead of standing, he was kneeling by his father's side. So kneeling. And then small, so something that means big, basically. And if we look here, we can find the word huge. So opposite of small, instead of small, we've got huge. And then finally, smile. So something that would be the opposite to smile, and it's actually this word here, cry. So the opposite to smile, I will put there as cry. Now, number 27. The simile, her mouth was open like a person found drowned, is used in paragraph 3. Find the other simile that is used in paragraph 2 and write it in the space below. So paragraph 2, a simile is where something is like or as something else. And if you notice here, this is it here, where it talks about the feet of the fierce people who swept over her like water. So it's describing the people like water. So if you've written a sentence and it's got like water in it at all, then that would be correct. Number 28, find the forward phrase in paragraph 4. Find the forward phrase in paragraph 4 is used to describe how the character in the story reacted to his father's death using his voice. So paragraph 4, how the character reacted to its father's death using his voice. So if we're looking in paragraph 4, which is this one here, it's these 4 words here. Chanting for his spirit. So I was kneeling beside my father who'd been shot here. His chest full of blood, talks about it before. So chanting for his spirit is what we are after here. So chanting for his spirit. And then finally, number 29. This question tests your knowledge of apostrophes. Look at the 4 pairs of words highlighted in the passage below. In each pair, only one word is correct. Circle the correct word for each pair. So apostrophes are used for omission and possession. So contractions, so things like don't, where the O has been taken out, or also if someone owns something. So like Sam's hat. Okay, so these are the 2 times that we need apostrophes, for contractions or for possession. So I found this story interesting to read because of its description of events. So if we had it is, which is what this would be without the apostrophe, because of it is description of events, that doesn't make any sense. So it has to be its. The character story. Now this here shows that the character story, the story belongs to the character. So that means that we need the apostrophe for possession. Explains what happened to him and his family. His sister's face. So the face belongs to the sister, which shows possession, which is why we need the apostrophe there. Was described with shock. I want to know what's going to happen. So what is the contracted form of what is. Now if that makes sense, then we can have the apostrophe. I want to know what is going to happen next. Yes, that makes sense. So we're going to have our what's with the apostrophe circles for contraction. And that is the end of paper 5.